Hey guys, I got another video for y'all today. So, something that's circled around a lot that I wanted to address is that people try and justify the RPG creeds by saying that they may not be good Assassin's Creed games, but they're still good games in general. And a big problem I have with that is that it's just not true. You know, I've played good RPGs. I've played Witcher 3, I've played Skyrim, I've played RDR2, I've played Massive Chalice, so on and so forth. Go on, go on, go on. I know what a good RPG looks like, and I hate to break it to y'all, but games like Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Valhalla, and even Origins to some extent, are not good RPG games. They're bad ones. You know, you look at games like those. What do they have? They have a massive skill tree with very little variety. Yeah, sure, you can make builds, but the skill tree in and of itself has lots of repeats and things that obviously didn't take much effort. They can they have very little customization. Sure, there's lots of things you can get, but they're all pretty much just compare and contrast. Look what this does, look what this does, equip it if it's better. There's no way to improve items or use alchemy or runes to actually physically make things better or fit your build around things. It's just finding an item, seeing if it's better, and using it. Likewise, you only have combat and stealth. You can't make potions. You can't, you know, make new equipment yourself. You can't. There's very little collectibles around the world that actually matter. There's nothing beyond the genre that it's marketed as that actually classifies as an RPG. It was very lazily made, and the fact that people are comparing these games to famously acclaimed games like The Witcher is just quite frankly insulting. So, if you want a more in-depth video of this, go check out Laser's Assassin's Creed Odyssey broke me video. He goes much more in-depth about these things than I can. But I wanted to touch on a few things of what good RPGs do and why these games suck with it. First off, characters. Characters and story. We are given the choice between playing Alexios and Cassandra, which right off the bat, that's bad. You know, if you're giving us a pre-established character, don't give us a character that is male or female. Give us one or the other and then fully invest in that. Because as much as the media may want you to think this isn't true, men and women are different. They act differently. They do different things. And so when you have two characters that are different genders doing the exact same options, having the exact same dialogue, it doesn't make sense because now you're forced to make this character androgynous, and in doing so, you're making this character bored. That's a big problem right off the bat. Additionally, on top of that, they give us choices. Choices that don't always align with the character. They give us choices to make any decision regardless of the situation. They tried to go for the Witcher system of giving us choices that help us build our character. The thing that makes Witchers work, though, is that every choice you have revolves around Geralt's core character traits. You know, he's a stoic, burly not witch hunter, that is afraid to make his more vulnerable side shown. And every single piece of dialogue, every action, every choice you have in the game revolves around Geralt's core character traits. Every choice you can make makes sense given his character. Odyssey doesn't do this. It allows you to make those decisions, that it allows you to do these things, but it also allows you to choose drastically different options, like whether or not someone lives or dies, and completely irrespective of what the situation is. It gives us a pre-established character with core character traits, while also simultaneously letting us do whatever the fuck we want, which doesn't make any sense. That you can't possibly expect us to think this character is believable when we are not given consistent ways of perceiving the character itself. So, what do we do about it? Well, again, we could do it the Witcher way, or you can do it the Elder Scrolls way, which is where you are given a clean slate, your character has no core character traits, you play yourself, and not the character. That works because you didn't establish anything that we have to worry about ahead of time, while also still giving us a fun experience. What Odyssey does that you can't do is combine these two things, where you give, again, a pre-established character with core character traits, and then let us do whatever we want with those core character traits, because it makes the story not believable. The character we've been making this whole time may completely contradict Cassandra's core character trait of the good versus evil trying to perceive evil. Because, we could do that. We could be a great person, or we could slaughter villages of innocent people. The game doesn't care. So that would make our Cassandra a hypocrite, but that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense in a good RPG. Same way, the game has 3 different endings, but only one of them are good and only one of them are canon. Why would you give us 3 different endings if only one of them are actually good? If the other 2 suck, why make them exist in the first place? They're like, you have to make the right choices if you want the good ending. Well, if the game is right when it's marketed as being our Odyssey, why does that matter? It shouldn't matter, does it? So that doesn't make sense. Another good RPGs do. They make big worlds, but they fill them with content. Another thing games like Odyssey and Valhalla do wrong. Their games are hugely misrepresented. That, yeah, their maps are huge, they have all these islands, they have all these things that you can do, but not in reality. The worlds are massive, but there's a whole lot of copy and paste territory. Very little is happening in the world, and there's not much to do when you're traveling from point A to point B besides watching your horse run across barren desert. What a good RPG does. Again, take Witcher or RDR2. Yeah, you have to go through a lot of open space to get from point A to point B, but there's things you encounter on the way. Random encounters that you might find or not find when you're going from that place. You might, come across a bandit camp. You might come across a weird monster that you have to fight. You might come across someone in need who needs your help and then decide to not take them or take them. You might come across someone who wants to mug you and then either give your stuff away or fight them. It doesn't matter what you choose, but you have the option. Odyssey and Valhalla, and even Origins to some extent, don't do this. They just let you travel from point A to point B, hit the square button to let you, follow the road, and then you might arrive at your destination 10 minutes later. There's no point in having a huge open world if that open world doesn't have any meaningful content in it. And that's a big issue. Why would you want a big open world if the only thing you could do that entire time is watch your horse? That's boring. Yeah, the world is pretty, sure. But what does that do for you, realistically? It doesn't do anything. Alright. There's one more big thing that I want to discuss, and that's story/grinding. Origins, Valhalla, and Odyssey market themselves as story-based games. And all 3 of them suffer from a very similar issue. That they make you grind and grind and grind just to do the main story. Odyssey and Valhalla, don't get me, are worse, but Origins has it to some extent too, where, there's all these loads and loads of supposedly optional content that you have, that you pretty much have to do in order to progress in the main story. It works in games like Witcher and Skyrim and those because the side content is actually good. It makes you invested more in the story. But in games like Odyssey, it's boring. It's like mostly go fetch missions that happen to get you a fucking level or 2 at a time, and then maybe some gold in a reward. And the content isn't good either. The tonal inconsistencies are crazy. The game doesn't take itself seriously, but wants you to understand a serious narrative. It doesn't make any sense. All the side content doesn't take itself seriously, while the main story tries to make you care about the characters. It's a really weird approach that, for me anyway, does not work. And you have to grind these levels because the leveling system also is horrible. This is most prevalent in Origins and Odyssey, but it's prevalent to some extent in Valhalla as well, where you could be, 1 or 2 levels below an enemy, and they'll actually kick your ass, like one-shot you even, in some cases. Whereas if you're a level or 2 above them, it's like bug squish. It doesn't make any sense. There's tonal inconsistencies, the side content is boring, the leveling system is broken, and the actual way that you get those levels is completely unjustified. So, let's look at what we reviewed. Good things RPGs do. have customization that's actually meaningful, good story and tone, solid characters, plus story, plus side content, plus all that, and then solid open worlds. We've covered 4 things. There's a lot more to this, and again, if you want more on this, you can look at Laser's video. I'll put the link in the description. And I think that's just about all I have. If there's anything else you guys want to highlight as well that I didn't touch on, please feel free to do so. I couldn't have possibly hit everything that good RPGs do and why these games don't do it well. And other than that, that's all I've got for you guys today. Have a great day.